Hi, Warriors. How's everyone doing today? Give me a Y if you're doing okay. How you doing, Sinatra? Mike, Ryan, BOC, exactly, with it making new highs. Ryan's ready. Blake, how are you, buddy? Okay, this is where I want to start. Okay, we have big problems under 19.5 in NASDAQ. And I just want to go over the narrative that everyone had coming into July, since we're only a week away from the end of the month. July was one of the most positive seasonal months, right? So unless you booked your profits and during this positive seasonal month, mid-month, you really don't have much left. Take a look at the monthly with a week to go. Of a reversal month to the downside. Not saying this is it. But I still think that the key reversal and all the negative action has durability into about mid-August minimum. So this is not the greatest setup to go into August with a candle like this. August not supposed to be positive. August and September. Okay, so NASDAQ still leading to the downside. I posted this VIX on, we had that really Tuesday looks like it was just a relief rally unless they could turn this. So here's a look at the VIX. That's a monthly, pretty good. But, when you look at where it held yesterday, that's where the VIX has to hold. So the old law of technical trading, old resistance becomes new support. Anyway, we'll see if we could hold 19.5 there in NASDAQ. Gold likes it up 8, silver, fighting this downdraft. And I'll tell you what, this is another day. I know I've been talking about it, that it's possible that we could have risk off without a big inflow of safe haven buying into other currencies. I certainly don't see it today.
Dale, I was gonna say, yesterday it was really the first time we've seen Turnaround Tuesday work in like a long time. We actually
Yeah,
got some selling and a little bit of follow through today.
yeah.
I
So,
mean,
and
crazy.
we peaked mid-month. I know Steve, if you're here, Steve, you're running the cameras. He looks for reversals at the beginning of the month. He says that's a good time for it to happen. I have more of the philosophy of mid-month, kind of like Turnaround Tuesday is a midweek. So we had mid-month, mid-year this month, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a great time for a bear raid. I mean, during our meeting yesterday, everyone's going to be gone at different times in August. So, we're a microcosm of, you know, the trading world. Uh, that's what a lot of people are going to do, which thins out markets, which makes it a market more susceptible to moves both ways. But the setup going into August is that really, if they want to pull a bear raid, it's really a pretty good time to do it. So, just back to NASDAQ one more time, and I want to talk to Ryan and you, Blake. I guess Kay isn't here again. Um, but when you look at the Russell, see, I thought that might be the hook. So people were afraid to short the market because now, you know, we have better breadth in the market, right? And I'm not saying that this looks bad. It looks okay. So maybe we're going to get an ABC here in the Russell, retrace maybe back to a prior high, something like that. While this is happening, the stuff that's weak becomes even weaker. So this 19.5 is pretty big, and there's a lot of air underneath it. So, we'll see if they could turn it. I doubt it. Um, but I've been surprised a lot when I've doubted things.
Well, that's the thing about the markets, right? You think they can only go so far, but they will shock and awe you over and over and over again. And I,
Look,
I never am unshocked in the markets. Let's put it that
yeah.
way.
Well, we've seen so much in our careers, but yeah,
Yeah.
but yesterday, look at that recovery. I mean, all that was a relief rally based upon what I heard was, the market has relief that Biden was replaced at the top of the ticket. So, pretty weak bounce after a pretty good break. Um, anyway, let's talk a little currency action. So, Ryan, you're excited about the Bank of Canada today. I have a bottle of Crown Royal on my desk. I'm going to take a little sip on the Bank of Canada so that I have the courage to. No, don't trade. Don't drink and trade. Kidding. Don't drive and don't drink and trade. Anyway, how you looking to play it, brother?
Um,
On BBC.
yeah, as far as everyone's concerned, they're going to cut rates 25 pips. It's like a 94% chance of something. Um, Obviously, that's not 100%, and nothing's 100%. So there's always a small risk that they stay unchanged, and that'll hit the dollar CAD there. I'm still looking from the short side. I said yesterday, day before, 137.70.80 was a bit of resistance, and we parked there all day yesterday. I didn't tap it because I thought it might go a bit more. It's gone a bit more to 138. It
Yeah,
may have some legs up to that prior high, April, which is
yeah,
what,
back in.
138 and a half ish. If we go up there on the back of the BOC and it's not too dovish, like they're not saying they're going to cut another 5 times this year, then I'll
Yeah,
probably give it a go at the top just to play the wider range.
okay. That was kind of what I was thinking. I had numbers at 8:15. We'll
Yeah,
see. Uh, you would think this would be a layup, don't you think, to take out these highs? I know there were stops, here and then here. This is a grand prize stop hunt above this high.
yeah.
It would be negative if it couldn't take it out, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's sort of two areas. There's this 137.70.80 up to the big figure. Then if you zoom out a bit, you've got this 138 and a half, and then 138.60s, I think, as well. And then you've got that move to 139. So you've got various levels to lean against here, just
Yeah,
depending on where it wants to take you. But it might be a done deal. We might also get a hint of what they think about their limit on policy divergence with the Fed. They spoke about that at the last meeting when they cut the first time.
okay.
So if they cut again, that'll put them 87.5 pips wider than the Fed. So that might be pushing their limit. They don't want to go too far. And so if you also got to look at the US side of things. We know the Fed are heading towards cuts. We know there's been some wobbles in the data. So there's no real justification for the US dollar side of the trade to be overly strong. But
Okay.
this, like a lot of pairs today, has been dragged around by the yen.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. So, um, that trend break was, it's looking less likely for another challenge of the highs. So this intervention, when the dollar turned, was much more successful than this one as far as magnitude.
Yeah,
Maybe they don't have to do anything anymore because of what the market's expecting from the Fed, and maybe they do something, and this looked like a pretty much a given target. I mean, 152 was so big. Look left, traders. If you want to
yeah, yeah.
learn how to trade,
Huge.
look left. You'll remember the period right in here where we were just waiting for 152 breakouts to happen. That's where
Yeah,
it looks like it's going to me.
yeah.
How about you?
It's very much. I mean, it's carving through the levels. I said this morning on the flow show in the room, you can't trust the text.
Yeah,
These are flows and they're going. 155 was a big enough level and it went through like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
But this is every day. This is looking more and more like 2022. When we hit the highs, we got the intervention. We'd just come off the back of the running inflation hikes and everything, and we got that. There we go. That big move when we first hit up at 152. That was the first time.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
getting those vibes in this move because it's
Yeah.
becoming relentless. So yeah, we could be heading back 145, maybe somewhere like that.
Yeah, that's a important enough of a line to have here. And so you have a lot of confluence at 52.
Yeah,
And you know what?
huge.
Now that I put it up there, it'll make the last, few months action uh, uh, look like a false breakout.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Blake, if we got back under that blue line?
Yeah. Oh, well, false breakout. Yes. Just failed breakout. I mean, that 152 level, as Ryan's pointing out, is just
Big,
the
yeah.
most critical. It's going to be a playable level too. And that's the
All right.
thing. I think everybody that's part of the Forex Analytics community knows that I'm buying with both fists at 152 or around
Okay.
152. I mean, I'm going to buy it there because everybody else is going to be, doesn't mean it's going to be successful. Might only make it 100 or maybe 500 pips. I don't know, but I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a very tradable level.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I see S&Ps are getting worse.
We are at channel support right now.
All right. I'm gonna just ask Ryan one more question, and you could have him, Blake.
Sure.
The Aussie, Ryan. So yesterday we talked about having a little bit of a stop hunt, not a little bit, a stop hunt under these lows.
Yeah.
We didn't quite do it, did we?
No, I started picking it up from 66.05, 95, 85, right on
Yeah.
that 50 fib.
Yeah. Okay.
It's holding for now. A lot of this move down to those lows, down to the 80, has been on the back of yen. So if you look at Aussie yen,
Yeah.
it's moving pretty much in lockstep. But as I say to people, you can watch one thing for an idea of what's going on another thing, but at some point, the original asset, i.e., Aussie dollar, is going to hit its own big levels and fundamental levels where it won't continue to follow what's happening in other things. So this was a level I was looking at. So I'm
Yeah.
giving it a go, a small go, because I know I'm pissing into a very strong wind at the moment.
Yeah. Looking momentum. So it's not my style, but I understand the levels. We could get a bounce and then you know, take these lows out again. I've been waiting for 105. Maybe I don't get 105 in the Dixie.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, Blake. So I think that's about it. Yeah. So we'll see. The Bank of Canada. What time?
Quarter to three my time. So that is what, an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All
let's
right. So
I
let's see
want
your
to take a
charts.
good look at this dollar CAD. And by the way, Dale, your microphone is a little on the quiet side. Just
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if maybe you had an
Yeah.
adjustment, but
How is it now? Better?
actually better. Yeah, much
Okay.
better.
Good. All right.
So there's a few things that I think that we need to talk about. Well, first of all, you were just discussing the Bank of Canada. I want to just mention that not only did we breach, horizontal resistance, but we also hit the 127% extension of the last leg lower that rejected us here. So I would think that there's going to be a little bit of a stall around these levels. Now, if you look out further, and let's get the daily chart just so you can really see the triangle consolidation. I know we've talked a lot about this, and positioning has been a very big issue for me just in general, with the Canadian, and the market is just very, very bearish Canadian dollars, and so I have been very hesitant about playing it on the long side. I did get long down here. I know a lot of us in the ForexAnalytix community did around the 200 DMA. I got out of mine already. Up around 137. I haven't participated like this last leg higher, but today is going to be really the day that I think could be the day that breaks us out. But the flip side is, as Ryan talked about, You know, you have central bank divergences, and maybe, you know, the Bank of Canada doesn't want to go that far. I mean, they are expected to cut rates today, right, Ryan?
Yeah, four and a half
And so,
percent.
yeah, and I know that they're going to want to temper expectations a little bit because of this policy divergence between the Fed. And if that's the case, we could actually see the dollar CAD reverse here. And it would be unfortunate because I don't like being in a range like this for so long. But I mean, you know, this started in April, so I mean, we're talking several months of a range. Is it? Do you think we got the? Do you think we have the recipe this week or today to break us out of this range? What are your thoughts?
Based on the evidence, as you say, we've been in this range for several months now. We've had a breakdown in the oil correlation at times.
Yeah.
I don't see anything coming that will break this range, unless you know, like you say, unless the dollar flips around and starts getting all weak again, or we see a big bout of strength. So yeah, you know, you say you don't like ranges like this. I love ranges like this because it gives you opportunities top and bottom with, you know, decent time in between and decent pips. You know,
Yeah.
so if you can catch them, if you can, you know, narrow your risk against them. I mean, that 136 is an absolute humdinger.
It is.
You know, it's all right saying after the event, but I was thinking it was going to break, so I didn't try longs down there. But what a trade that was.
Yeah, it was a big one, and I didn't think it was going to just give us as big of a move as it did, but boy, was it a big one. Hey, I want to just show you guys. This is what I was referencing a little bit earlier, just with the COT data. I mean, you go out max, and this is just, you can see the green, right? That is how short the speculative, large speculator community is right here, short Canadian dollars. I mean, it's historically, it's bigger than ever. That means that large speculators think the dollar CAD is going to 140. I mean, or maybe 150. Who knows? You know, that's what the market's looking at. So therefore, that's the thing that made me a little nervous. But you know, if everybody's expecting a big breakout, you know, will we get it? I don't know. Today's going to be interesting. But do you think that their messaging is going to be you know, enough to hold back the dollar CAD from breaking out, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that the messaging is going to be more important than the actual rate move.
Yeah.
As I said, you know, 90% probability they cut. There's going to be, you know, very little move on that outside maybe an algo blip. But it's going to be that message. What happens next? Are they going on to a pause for a little bit to see what happens? Are they going to keep cutting? Is the divergence with the Fed now a problem? Are they at their limits? So I see more reasons for the CAD to gain today than to keep going.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a two-way market. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a move up through 138. But I would be looking to tap that if we did.
All right. Well, hey, you know, I'm gonna give a shout out, Dale. You know him, so, and he's listening in right now, I'm sure. You remember Mr. Michael Weissman?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know, I'm gonna. This is the ForexAnalytix community, by the way, and you know, we're talking about like everything, as we normally do. This is just, you know, this morning, like literally last hour. You can see this. Like, there's been a lot of conversations going on this morning, and Michael's like, this is one of the sub threads. He's like, "Good day," and you know, I said, "Good morning." He said, "Good morning, Blake. Great yen trades." And then my response was, well, I sat in some for a long time, so it did cost quite a bit on the carry, but thank you. Overall, a success. Just weeks of frustration. Timing was off for sure. You know, that was my response to Michael, because I had feelers on short all these yen pairs, you know, like smaller size, 1/4 size positions, you know, and they eventually rolled over, obviously. And he said, got it. Means if it means anything to you, I got in some shorts, dollar yen and euro yen, great levels just a few days ago because of your analysis. Never made so many pips so fast in my life. Just not my style. I like this style. And I said, good man, you know, you were pressing the buttons. Love it. Times like these, I'm backing off size and not going to get myself into too much trouble, because I've just closed out all my yen shorts over the course of the last less than 24 hours, like 12 hours now. And my last position of the euro yen was just closed out because we're so close to the 38% retracement that I was targeting. I am looking to still sell rallies, but those are the types of conversations that we have inside of the ForexAnalytix community, with people just, posting charts and ideas and thoughts and, Benedict's big idea about a big crab pattern, or, I think butterfly completing here on the euro yen on a monthly basis. There's a lot of different conversations that happen here. And if you are not in a community where you can talk to people openly, like Ryan or myself or Cayman or, or other traders in our community, make sure you are part of the ForexAnalytix community. It's $1 for 10 days to try it out. Try it out, jump in the chat room. That's where it's all happening, and that's where it's all at. Because it's not just, that's the general chat room. You have the S&P room where we're talking about, Dale, this is the important channel support that we're testing right now in the S&P. This is it.
Nice. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We have a macro chat room, a newsroom where, Ryan, tell us why the yen took a little bit of a spill, because it was all here and I caught up with it soon as I got up this morning. Why did the yen take a spill overnight in European trade again?
Yeah, well, we'd had a dump to like 154.36, and then just as we were on the flow show, it had a little wobble again. Reuters dropped a piece saying that the BOJ are weighing cuts at next week's meeting. I didn't get the detail because I would have bought that dip, because it was basically just a rehash of everything else we already knew. So it dipped and then came back, but it's just getting spanked again. We're now through 154 at the moment. We've got a big fib coming up at 153.66.
Yeah, and the thing that scares me about this 154 level, and I know there's been, it's this, I already posted, but you can see we're really probing some pretty key levels here, and it's making me nervous here this is actually, this is the chart from this morning. Let me get over to it. Whoops, back in the other direction. Dang it. Yeah, this level here that we're at, let me pull that up. Oh, this is yours right here, Ryan. But yeah, this 154 level, it's a big one in the yen, and I think we have to be a little careful with it, just because of, it is horizontal support. There's a lot of supports down here, but man, I'll tell you, it does feel a little, feels a little dangerous, right?
Is the yen starting to pick up maybe a little safe haven bid?
Yeah,
is Canada going up because of risk off? And I wanted to comment. You showed the interactions in your chat room. They used to be called mastermind groups, and everyone needs that's before the internet. People would get together. In the old days at brokerage houses, you'd have a morning call. A guy like Ray Dalio has a committee of his best analysts, and they all brainstorm together. So, it's not a concept that we've made up. Now we call it a community chat room. But it's the same concept.
It is, and we used to get on a morning call with Laszlo Barini in 1995, Dale.
Right.
1995. I was set on a morning call every day at Joseph Charles and Associates in 1995 and listened to Laszlo Barini every single morning.
He had a very high voice.
Yeah. Yes, he talks like this. He still does.
Yeah.
If you see interviews with him nowadays, he still does. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great ideas, and it's the community effort, that it's not just my voice or Ryan's voice or anybody else's voice. It's a cumulative voice of really.
It's a mastermind.
It is, yeah. So thanks, Dale. So anyway, well, let's continue on. We're kind of running short on time here. Matter of fact, I just need to double check really quick. We do have
just some trade balance data.
Yeah, nothing like super specific. I want to talk about a couple of things before Bruce gets here. Bruce is going to be really proud of me, Dale, that,
Yeah.
I was looking at this this dollar mex is the big Wyckoff strategy, Wyckoff accumulation way back when.
Yeah.
I was talking about it every week on the week ahead video before it exploded higher. And so yeah, this is a big Wyckoff accumulation. That's what this whole move
You were
was.
talking about it in the end too.
Yeah,
And
and
then
it's
kind of like gave up on it, but the other way when you
yeah.
showed it as the yen dollar instead
Yeah,
of US dollar yen, you had the
it
same bottom.
yeah, it kind of overshot. And then, obviously the intervention came in afterwards, but I was looking at this distribution, that failed rally
Oh,
attempt. I
yeah,
guess that right there was the failed rally attempt
yeah,
in the distribution. It just, kind of overshot, I guess, is the
yeah.
way I can look at it is, but I still played it, and I know a lot of people did. A lot of us in the community have been trading it. So I guess it's fine.
Nice.
It's all worked.
We learned from everybody.
Right, exactly. So let's talk just real fast about the S&P and how important this support is. This is really, really critical support. Remember, we've been in this ascending channel literally since spring, and so break below 5,500 and 5,450 will really open the door, to this major breakout point, which would be 5,300 basically. So, there's a
And
lot
you
of
show the
levels.
Nasdaq breaking down. The S&Ps have been a little bit stronger.
Yeah,
Nasdaq breakdown.
it's
Yeah.
trying. I mean, we got this. I mean, I could say, yeah, we've severed the trend line, but obviously between that horizontal support, that 38% retracement,
Yeah.
there's a lot there. You look at the Dow's still in breakout. Dow's
Yeah.
still in breakout territory as far as I'm concerned. Even
Yeah.
though we do have this bear flag pattern that's developed, it's like, is it going to play out? You got Russell, that still looks decent.
Oh, Laszlo passed away. Forex
Did
gal.
did Laszlo, when did he pass away? Wow.
He
Huh.
made it to 79.
Man, that what that I think the last time I hadn't even known. Thanks, Forex gal.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw him on CNBC might have been like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes days are long, years are quick, and so I
I
don't
don't
know how
know.
many years ago it wasn't I seen him, but
Yeah.
yeah, old Laszlo. Thank you. Okay, well, we have just a couple minutes till this goes off, till the data comes out and Bruce comes in. Ryan, what are you looking at today to play right now?
Dollar CAD as mentioned,
Yep.
and just seeing if this Aussie dollar can get off the ground, pick its shorts up a bit and get moving. Those are the main ones. But another one you might want to look at quickly is dollar MEX,
Yep.
because as we get a big unwind in the yen, we're getting a big unwind of the carry, and
Yep.
we've got a big level up above at 1850.
I'm
Aussie
still
yen
long
used to
full.
be risk off too. Aussie yen. Remember, guys, in the day?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Well,
reattaching itself.
this is the big one, Dale. This is as I tweeted yesterday and earlier or last week or earlier this week. This is the Trump trade in a nutshell. And this is the great unwind. You can see when Trump left office to basically now, and he's going to put a lot more pressure on Mexico. He's going to probably try to walk all over the new president. He's going to at least try to push her buttons, and he's going to go after her, and this carry is probably going to unwind because he's going after Japan as well. So the Mexican peso, Japanese yen, as Ryan points out, the dollar max. I'm full size long dollar max, and I'm full size and I'm profitable, and I'm expecting it to go past 19, probably closer to 20 before it's all over and said and done. So yeah,
I heard that after he takes office, he's gonna he has a camping trip planned. Him, Putin, Xi, and the guy Kim. That they're all going camping together.
right over at Camp David. Hey,
That's
real
all.
quick, let's just pull over ForexAnalytix. We're going to pull up that data really fast as it's being released. Data just came out. New housing
Like,
price index for CAD, little weaker.
Better on the
like
trade balance, so that's all right.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, not going to be a big move. Is Bruce here?
yeah, Bruce is here, and
Hey, Bruce.
they're planning on making some s'mores together. Those guys.
More small.
Anyway, all right, let's get to some structure, which I'm taking us out of our structure, and there's no better guy. Bruce mentored Blake or reminded him of Wyckoff type of formations and trading. Bruce, I'm going to ask you to unmute. It's
Yeah,
great to have you back.
and Dale, I'm gonna pass you. I'm gonna let you take Bruce, but I would just want to say, yeah, it's been, the Wyckoff strategy has been one of those ones that's been around for so long, and things in my toolbox come and go sometimes, and it's one of those that now when I see them setting up, I can't unsee them. They're not like super common for what I do, but when I see them, I tend to pay a lot of attention. That's why it's great to have Bruce here. So. Anyway,
Yeah,
Bruce, welcome, and you guys have a
it's
great interview.
like everything else, it's a tool, right, Bruce?
Absolutely. Blake brought a tear to my eye when I saw
I
that
tell you.
beautiful upthrusting action. That was fabulous.
Bruce, great
And
to have you here. You guys have a great interview.
Blake, that's real common. Real common is to have that final run, in a big distributional style structure be a new high, and brings in the momentum traders and so on, especially after a big uptrend preceding it. And that's what you showed us. And I was getting a little choked up.
Yeah,
So,
I tell you what, it's really a beautiful thing.
it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So, but thank you. And it's always so much fun to be with you all. And I have to tell you, you guys are like the modern morning call. And I really just love it. It's just your analysis is just so good. And I thought that the dollar CAD was just a great study. And you could just see Wyckoff all over that chart. And that last rally up to resistance was a really, really good rally. And so if, in fact, after that news comes out, it doesn't give back and go back into the structure, but just sort of pauses and hangs out at resistance, that could be a really good clue. So really fun stuff. And I'm from those old morning call days, from what do they call those, shout out or shout downs, or
it was the squawk box.
Squawk box, because we had literally
CNBC. That's how CNBC came up with it.
Yeah, it's like way precedes them, and just like you all do, you really ground us, and you really ground us, sort of, and help us to get our game face on as we go into the new day. And that's a big part of, I think, what this does. And you guys are just, you do a good job of it. So you really do take me back to the old days.
Yeah. I mean, the art of it is always been not the if, but the when.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The when. Everything is the when. I mean, that's why we have to wait for the when and not just trade the if. Oh, is this a new thing, power trading for you?
Oh, no, that's my old show, as a matter of fact. But this is just, hey, everything's risky,
Yeah, right.
And, we don't give advice here, but we certainly have a good time. And so it's always really fun to be here. And the thing is about like talking to Dale and Blake and everybody is that I never know what the heck, where this is going to go. So I just put together just a junk drawer of charts and hope that I can hit the mark. So anyway, but
so what's on the docket? Do you have?
Well, this is from an old blog I wrote, and I have accumulation and distribution structures. We are going to look at some of that today, and I didn't put up the distribution ones, but this sort of goes to what Blake was talking about, but he was talking about distribution. But see, look at this. We call this a spring. It goes down after accumulation is nearly complete. It goes down and makes a slight new low. And this completely just shakes out. You know, there's
Yeah.
stops down there, and
Right.
people think, oh my God, here comes the next leg down in the bear. And in fact, this is just a probe. And then you look for, I mean, there's certain things you look for in Wyckoff to tell you that this is in fact a spring and then a test. And then this was that really good rally we saw in dollar CAD. Was you saw this terrific rally up to resistance, and in this rally is better the ones that preceded it in the structure. So there's lots of little tells in the way
Yeah.
that the bars and the volume act. So really fun. It's just fun. And
What
mhm.
I was going to ask you, Bruce, you know, I've been talking about this for a while, and it has nothing to do with technicals. But you know, my sister's plan is to get out of the market right before the election, get back in after the election. And I have to think that multitudes of investors are thinking it was going to be clear sailing until, you know, October, November, right? So they could
See,
sit. So this July, could it be a surprise that we could have a nice little bear raid here to get people to panic before the election and then rally into it?
trying to get a half a step ahead of Dale is really hard, but I do have a chart for this.
I knew you did.
So I said, well, now Dale's going to talk about this. So anyway,
Okay, you know
this this is the S&P 500. Now, what we're doing here, this is as far back as we can take the data, and Seasonax, you know, they're really wonderful friends. They're good people. They have a seasonality engine on their website. And so what I do here is all I'm doing is I'm taking election year seasonality. So I'm going back and I'm looking at all the election years going back as far as there's data, which is 49, and looking at just the election years. And this is what it looks like. And we don't look for extent where, like, we sort of ignore these scales. We look for directionality. And last year was just like scary good. This year is pretty good. And so you can see here that the blue is the seasonal, and then the
Right.
red is the S&P. And this is
Right.
just daily. And here we are in the month of July. And note that we have generally an upward bias, little pause at the end of the first quarter. Well, that actually came in April here, and may have been related to this or to this. And then you have strength, and the strength has taken us into July. There's a hiccup into the end of July, and then continued strength into August, September in an election year. And so we just have to test our hypothesis against what the charts are really doing. But here we go. Here is like the weakness in, I think some of the more important weakness in the year really goes into the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. And so that this weakness
like
could take us into the election. Yeah. And I
it's like
do
the
think,
bottom will
no, go
come
ahead.
before the election,
Right.
and then we rally into the election.
And so this, so this, so far, if you just sort of stay with the directionality, this has been really, really helpful. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if we, in the third quarter, didn't have some kind of a pause, because, like, we just have to assume it, with these characters that on it, all sides, that there's going to be drama. And boy, we're getting it. As soon as we got into July, it's just all kinds of things going on. And so, but maybe the bigger part of your sister's question, one for all of us, is here is this is again, our friends at Seasonax created this chart, but this is the 10-year decennial pattern. And this is going all the way back to 1897. And what they do is they take all the years of the decade and they just add them together, sum them up, and get tendencies. Doesn't always work. Sometimes on occasion it doesn't work at all, but I find it to be eerily good. So this cycle, Dale, has been the seasonality, or the decennial seasonality, has worked out pretty darn good. And so you can see here, I just laid over this classic accumulation structure, and typically the weakest part of the decennial is from the 0 year 2020 now into 22. And in fact, that was the year that we got our low in 22.
Right.
And then you work up the right side of the accumulation structure in 23 into 24. And then 24, which in this case is an election year, tends to be a range bound year with weakness into the end of the third quarter. And then thereafter, once
Wow.
the election is over, you get good strength.
Good. Just becomes, I thought we were already parabolic. So it looks
Well,
like
look
it's,
here. Yeah, look at, I mean, this has been fantastic. And so, but look at what the 5th year into the 6th and 7th year looks like. And so now this
Huge.
isn't, but this, we have to test this with actual market analysis. But so far, this has really been giving us the right directionality. And also it's been a really good move. And then, this is, you know, let's keep our
bullish.
eye on the prize. Could this happen? You know, it's like, we can't say for sure, but we have to test it with real market analysis. But so far, so good. And so
Interesting.
that would be maybe something that I would show your sister. And so then if we go back and let's in fact just go look at this is the S&P 500, and this is let's actually go back a little further here and look at this one. And so
there's nothing bearish.
So here's the bear market top of 21, 22. And just to give people orientation. And then we have this big downtrend action. Here's our low in 22.
Right.
So this, now we're starting to set up an accumulation structure as we saw in the decennial for the beginning of a rally phase into 23 and 24. And keeping in mind, of course, that the S&P 500 is heavily dominated by the Mag 7 type stocks. And so, but nonetheless, look at this beautiful uptrending stride. Now, once we finish the accumulation across here, we can take a horizontal point and figure count, which is part of our old school Wyckoff technique. And that gives us a way to be able to estimate the potential for how high the market could go, as we did for distribution. Gave us a count that works so well. And here is, this isn't really a spring. I call it a spring and a test. Normally those come at the end, but it does have the effect of undercutting the selling climax.
Right.
And then a really good rally up to the top, to the resistance area. So now let's take a look at what
the X's and O's are saying.
Yeah, now I've shown you this chart. We got together in April last time, so
yeah,
I'm sure we looked at this, but right here in January of 23 is when it appeared to me we were completing what we call the last point of support, which pretty much completes accumulation. I said, okay, we haven't really rallied up and out yet, but this is an important place. We had a really good turn. Let's count this. And so I counted it, and I took what we call segments, and the segments give us the literally, they're like train stations along the journey where the market will stop and rest. And so you can see we had, first of all, let's just take the count area. The LPS went down to 3775 S&P, and the low was, call it 3500. And I was posting up these charts and power charting on my blog, which is at stockcharts.com, and people thought I was certifiable. But you know, I see it looks like distribution, I count it. If it looks like accumulation, I count it. And I'm a strictly a reasons are optional kind of guy. I'm a technician, and so that's a warning. It's a
Okay.
warning. I just let
That's a disclaimer. All right.
Anyway, so but look at this count. So we still have ahead of us a count that goes as high as 62.75, 65.50, and people are like going, you know, you're smoking something, and I'm like, okay, so but here it is, and look at this beautiful redistribution count, and how it got us right into the range of the lows. So anyway, and then I have a slightly different. So I've shown this chart here numerous times, but let's look at this one, which is just a little different. And so this area here, and this is April of 24. This is right before we met last time. And I probably took this for us, you know, look at here, but it's slightly different scaling, so it looks different, compacts the data more, but beautiful downtrend, throws under the bottom of the channel, and that is a measure of an oversold condition. And I took 2 counts, and look how close this gets us to the prior count that I had, 6350, 6700. And here's the amazing part. I can make this count bigger. And when we get, and so if we do get this ripping 2025, there is a cause built for the potential for those higher prices. So, you know, wrapping those two ideas together. And so we could count from here over to here, and certainly people might want to even capture this chart and take that count. Just keeping in mind that we, you know, we always let our market analysis
Evolve.
guide us. Yeah.
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 Always
So
reassess when you get new evidence. You reassess.
and so, having said that, the other thing that I think is kind of a phenomenon here is the broadening out of the market. And so I think this, if we do get some kind of a correction in the NASDAQ, in the megas, then that could be a negative for the whole market. I'm hoping that the NASDAQ just goes through some sort of kind of a range bound situation. Institutions are way over their skis with these stocks. I mean, way over their skis. And you can see here, if we look, this is the advanced decline line of the NASDAQ going back to 2020. Here's the top in 21 of the bull market peak with a throw over of the channel. Yeah. And then down we went, and we have a more severe throw over potentially this time. And so we have to be really careful here. And look what happened as we completed the first quarter. We had this just ripping rally from October of 23 up to here. And then the NASDAQ 100 hit the wall. It became what? The NASDAQ 7. And right. So, you know, these stocks are just going sideways, but this is what the index did. So it's the NVIDIA index, you might say. And
so we haven't had a throw over, well, a little mini throw overs that it's currently negating.
And here, look what we have in the actual
now.
Yeah, look what we have here. We do have, in fact, have a throw over at the top of the channel with the climactic orientation. We always look for climaxes to end our advances, as we had one here in 21, and now we have one here. So typically when you see a climax like that, you say okay, if we get a break here, a big outsized break, then we're going to be range bound for a while. And now I make wishes in the market and I never get my wishes fulfilled. So my wish would be that all that the NASDAQ 100 does is just go into a range bound condition.
And
That would
how
allow,
about a break of that support at 19.5, which we're challenging right now? That's about 1,000 points. 1,200 gets you, 18,000, 18.3, which
yeah,
would
right.
just be a correction, right?
Right. And so look, yeah, here Dale's absolutely right, because the thing we notice here, we have two throwovers. So here's the second quarter rally, ends with a
Yeah.
climactic surge above the channel. But then look at the response to this
Big
is
red
this,
candle.
and
Okay. Yeah.
expanding volume. So we have spread in the opposite direction, and we have volume. And
Yeah,
this
huge
big
volume.
red, yeah.
Yeah.
And those tell us that there is unbalanced supply showing up in this index. And now here, like, this should be support that gives us a rally. And I know we're weak this morning. I don't know if we're below the
We're right
support
there
line.
at 19.5.
Yeah, yeah. So it should attempt to hold support, but if it
Yeah.
breaks that, you're right on. I mean, it's spot on. And then we're down into what, this support area.
Yeah.
And so this and this is the thing that happens with distribution, is that oftentimes it doesn't even build a top. It just makes an inverted V top, and then it's just volatility
Yeah,
comes
that
in.
big
And
break last week, that gap lower opening.
yeah,
You have a lot of people trapped up there that are hoping that the support holds. So I don't think we put in a low until there's some capitulation under that.
I believe you. And here now, for the time being, so what I've done down here, Dale, is I put a relative strength line. I love looking at relative strength. Normally I look at the S&P, but we know that it's infected with the MAGAs. Where what I did is, instead I put there's an ETF, which is the equal weighted S&P 500.
Right.
And so I like to look at that, and we know that the market's been broadening out here of recent, which I think is really good. And I'd love to see a broad, wide market, especially if we go into 2025, because that's a sign the economy's getting better. And
Bruce, the complaint by technicians, not you, but a lot of people before we had that historic day in the Russell, was the market's too concentrated. It's only these 7 stocks that are making up for 80% of the gains.
right,
And because of that, they were bearish. All right. So they tried to short it and, wasn't successful. Now they don't have that leg to stand on because of the breadth thrust that we had. And
yes,
now the market, after we had that great day, the, Mag 7, which led the market up, what leads the market up can lead the market down, I believe. So even
yeah,
though we're broadening out, does not mean that the NASDAQ 100 cannot break hard. And I even saw an example by a guy named Dean Christians. You know him? He's a CMT too, where
I,
he showed the
not
market
sure.
not topping, and there were a few periods with the market still not putting in the top, where you had 34% and 68% sell-offs in semis,
Mm-hmm.
even with the
And
market not declining
and
in general.
I do think that the narrowing breadth is very worrisome but it's worrisome certainly for for the S&P and for the NASDAQ 100, because they're dominated by these few names.
Right.
And that's very worrisome. And even I have been talking a lot about it. But the best
Yeah.
thing that could happen is that you have a market that just broadens out. And so that, for now, I think that is a super bullish thing. The chart on the right is maybe adds to your comment, which is, this is the equal weighted RSP going back to 2022. This is the bullish structure accumulation zone as seen in the RSP. And here are some counts. And now this is the ETF, but look how beautiful this is. This is a classic Wyckoff accumulation. Signs of strength here as it pushes up, keeps coming back into accumulation, but it from higher levels, which is a very, very bullish sign. Volumes expanding. And then you have this big count, and look, this little swing count and the bigger count now confirm each other at 186. And so this suggests that we still have higher to go, and this count could be made bigger. But I suspect if we fulfill these counts, which goes as high as 198, that, you know, we probably get a rest and a reaccumulation for another run.
Or I'm sorry, Bruce, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you have X's and O's for NAS 100? Have we put some down, some O's in there?
See, you can just never really be completely prepared for Dale.
Okay. And I'm just, it's a weakness.
I have them, but I'm not sure that I put them in. But
okay, no, but it's okay.
Let's see what I have here. So this is kind of fun. So this is the NASDAQ to Bitcoin. Yeah. And the thing I've noticed about NASDAQ and Bitcoin is that Bitcoin tends to turn up and down prior to the NASDAQ index. You can see that happening
again. It happened again here.
Happened again. And so, and in this, I think the fact that there's such correlation, but with more volatility in Bitcoin, suggests to me that these are just both really instruments of speculation above all else.
Measurements of liquidity.
Yep. And so here we have this thing topping out, and this is just a point and figure for Bitcoin. And this goes back, I think I showed this the last time I was on, and I know we're about out of time, but
wow, we got to your your target was hit.
Look at how beautiful that was. Really, right to the box. And so then let's see. And then, okay, so this is just another example of Bitcoin 75,005, 73.5. And here's a chart up to date. So this is where we hit right here. Right. And then look at what I think has characteristics of potential distribution. And so I was just looking actually.
I was looking for maybe 40 grand in
Bitcoin. This is becoming a big count. So I wouldn't argue with you at all on that. But I apologize. I don't see where I can just put my hands. I do have NASDAQ 100 point figure charts.
Not necessary to apologize for bringing so many great looks. It's like everyone was a pearl, and there were enough of them to string a necklace for Mrs. Cleaver.
Now you're really taking me back.
And you remember? Yeah, Ward would come home, and she was always wearing pearls. So she wears them.
That's right. While she's cleaning the house.
Oh yeah, always clean a house in a nice dress, and anyway, maybe we'll go back to those days. There is a segment of our population that would, in fact, give me a Leave It to Beaver day.
Leave it to Beaver. Yeah. So
anyway, look at what people are saying.
We have to watch out for Eddie Haskell.
Yeah, he's always trying to give people the business.
Yeah,
you just gave people great insight. and great work. And you know, if people want to study and learn Wyckoff, you teach them.
Yes, they can go to Wyckoff Analytics, and there's lots of free material, and there's courses and videos and
Yeah,
on and on and on. And of course, my blogs are at stockcharts.com, and there's Wyckoff power charting, Wyckoff power charting, and those are all absolutely free.
yeah,
And I'm
that's a
working on one right
resource.
now. I hope to have published this week. And I'll leave you on this Russell 2000 chart, which is a big accumulation study going back to
418,
22.
that's a double.
Yeah, look at how big the structure is. Oh my gosh. And I haven't even counted this reaccumulation right here.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful rising lows, rising highs, and
Yeah,
out it goes. It's into key resistance, may have to do work here,
yeah,
but if we can get this market broadened out, it could be a really good thing for 2025.
yeah. So, and when you know, after this little pullback ends, you know, I don't think you're going to want to go back to the MAGAs. That's the main message. You're going to want to be buying cyclicals and, dare I say, regional banks, because they're a
Yes,
big
and
part of the Russell, the KRE.
that's right. And that's a really good thing to see strength and good performance from financials.
Yeah, they were
So,
all folding, and now they're going to double.
right. And so that I consider to be really, really good. And then here's the Wyckoff Analytics. We
Yeah,
do a weekly Wyckoff market discussion, Ramon and I, and
yeah.
I'm sure we'll do another free one here real soon. So just stay tuned. And
Bruce, Bruce, it's really a service to teach a methodology that has lasted the test of time. And
goes back well
yeah,
over 100 years. Yeah.
you're a great ambassador for it.
Oh, thank
And
you. And
you know, so you know, sometimes uh, it's not the method; it's how it's also communicated to people, so they can
oh,
absorb
well,
it and utilize it. And I could tell that you have the demeanor to teach, and I learn from you every time you're here.
well, it's always the most fun for me to come hang with you all and hear your shout outs. You're
Well, follow at the minimum, everyone. If you're watching it live or you see the video, go to Bruce's website. You can find him on X at RD Wyckoff, and
yeah.
talk to Bruce and learn what he knows. Um, you know, it's a pot of gold. It's
Well,
still going to be you doing the interpretation, but that's why you have mentors and you learn from people that have been using it for decades. So while it's available, do it. You know, you never know. Bruce may just take off to an island and just
start
draw
watching
X's and
reruns of
O's.
Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah, you know, sitting
Yeah.
under a palm tree. So thank you again, my trading warrior brother. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Dale. Thank you, Blake. Thanks, everyone. And
So I'll get a hold of you, Bruce, and we'll talk in the fall.
love it. Okay.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
I hope that you know, this summer season, trading season, that pips rain down on you and all the people that interact with you.
Beautiful.
Take it easy,
Thank you,
Bruce.
Dale.
You're very welcome. So people are thanking you. Great presentation. Yes, nice content Bruce provides every single time. Remember, everyone, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. The team is there for you in 12 minutes on the morning edge, and we'll see you tomorrow. Adios. Thanks again, Bruce.